What's up guys, it is That Panda Guy. I'm here again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the big drama, okay? And I'll kind of be giving my thoughts on it, and honestly, I'm not a big drama person, okay? I would have rather not made a video like this, but I had been reached out to by a lot of people, and I just felt like this was something that was kind of worth commenting on, and just giving my thoughts, So I'm going to be giving my thoughts about everything, kind of why I think, honestly, people who are supporting this movement are wrong, and just, yeah, let's hop right into it. So we'll read off this, and I'll kind of start off using what he said as an examples. So Hands basically comes in on Discord and he's like, this immigration event has to end. It's been too long. It's difficult to maintain loyalty for players to stay in an alliance. It's no longer a game that rotates around alliance building. It's more of a personal agenda. I don't see any more purpose in this game. Thus, I will do two things. Firstly, I will gather all Mega Whales and HNB and its family alliances to boycott spending. Lastly, I will migrate around to kill off regions until devs do something. And now I'll be commenting on that. So first off, I don't think it's completely the game's fault about loyalty or maintaining players. I'm assuming that this is the original reason that this has actually started, right? Like maybe they were losing a lot of players, because I did see a lot of players had left HNB, and I'm assuming this is maybe because of their last island. Because I know how this kind of works with like some groups and stuff, not just not just HNB and like or even just this game. A lot of people kind of go into these alliances for winning a bunch of chests, etc. Right, and I'll kind of comment on that more as I go into this. But I don't think it's the game's fault, right? I think it does make it easier for players to move around and reap rewards. That's generally the nature of all players, though. I don't think that, although I do think like alliance building is a massive thing in this game, it always has been, and I still think it is. I don't think the whole it's more of a personal agenda thing has never not been the case, right? Like, if someone comes to HNB right now, or comes to Boone, or whatever alliance, it's it's somewhat always a personal agenda. A lot of these people don't come simply because they like the people there. Like sometimes they do, but a lot of people are just moving because they think, oh, this is the next big alliance. Oh, this alliance maybe buys a lot of chests. Oh, this alliance wins a lot, right? And I think this is one thing that you kind of actually have to differentiate. And I'll kind of explain this. And I'm not trying to put Boone on a pedestal here with this explanation, but I will be using Boone as a big example. So in this migration event, you've seen DHX, you've seen HNB, you've seen ROK, and the thing is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in DHX, ROK, HNB, a lot of players move in, move out, move in, move out, move in, and move out. And I won't say it's like very regularly, but it definitely happens, and I feel like it happens like between each island and stuff. But have you seen this kind of movement with Boone? And I really don't think you have. And I think there's one big reason for this. Not only is this just a really solidified alliance that's kind of been around as long as it has, I feel like losing as much as they have and not being the top alliance anymore has kind of done them good, because a lot of people who move to Boone, for example, they don't go there because they think, oh, this is the next big group. Oh, this group is the top spinning alliance in the game. Because in all honesty, it's not, right? It's maybe like the third strongest alliance, fourth strongest alliance or something now. Boone, I think it is a pretty good group. I think there's just good leadership there. And I think like that in itself, has made people just want to come. Plus, like I said, they've lost a lot. I think HNB probably loses, or sorry, they probably win more than they lose. Whereas Boone, I think it's more like a win lose win lose win lose situation, right? And I think a lot of people don't migrate there simply for that factor, and that's probably why they haven't lost as many players as these other alliances. And I think like in this game, and not only this game, I even remember I was watching like a Chizgul video like a month ago maybe, and he was basically commenting, and he was saying, talking about how people kind of were coming to these big alliances, and the second they lost something, like they lost, KVK or something, people would migrate out. And you know why that is? It's because a lot of these people migrated simply for the fact that they wanted easy rewards. They wanted to play a big part of something that's bigger than themselves. And I actually have friends in this game, and I'm not going to call out names. I like these guys. I don't really care that they're doing this, but some people care about that. Then that's them, where they migrated to like ROK or something like that because they know the rewards there are good. They want to maybe get VIP rewards. They maybe want to have some good fights, and then after that, maybe they'll stop going to these alliances, etc. Right? And I think that kind of has to be said, because I don't think it's the game's fault. Even if there was the migration system in place, you either wouldn't have received these players, or you would have received these players for a longer time. But in any case, would they be considered like leeches? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's something that I kind of had to comment on. I just find like the whole thing about difficulty maintaining loyalty of players isn't the game's fault. I think it's just the game helped it at making it easier for people to leave and join. But I don't think that's ever been an issue. That's kind of the game's fault. I think the game's just helped people migrate more, and jump from alliance to alliance if they want, better rewards or better fights, etc. Like, right? Like some players are just moved by personal agenda and completely that. They don't have an alliance they care to stay with, and I think that's always going to be the case. If there's a migration system in place, like the old one, it's still going to be the same thing. It's just going to be on a lesser scale where people can't move as much as they'd like to. So that's kind of my take on that. Do think like a lot of players do like the alliance building aspect. I do as well. I like settling down with the proper group, and there are a lot of players who would like to move through top alliances. Just they want to get those champion rewards. They want to be a part of the champions alliance. They want to be a part of the next big growing alliance. They want to just join the one that's spending the most now, and that's really it. Okay, so I'll kind of move on. The statement itself kind of puts question marks in my head, by the way, because I don't I don't believe this boycotting thing, right? Like or at least boycotting to the point where they're gonna stop spending. Because I've heard this so many times where people say, okay, well we're boycotting spending, and I think I've heard this from HNB a few times. But like the next week or something, they're buying at packs, right? Like I and the thing is, I think they've threatened to not to participate in Island, and I don't think they didn't participate in Island. I'm pretty sure they still showed up. So I don't think like. I think if you really want to make a change, right, burning regions down isn't the option, or it's not the like ideal option. If you really wanted to do something, you would maybe not participate in the next island, but that's probably not going to happen because these people want kills, these people want to fight, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying like why say it's to stop the immigration event when you're not willing to go through the full lengths to actually make a change and make a stop for it, right? To actually stand up to it and be like, okay, we're putting a big dent in your profits. And I'll kind of talk about why I think the boycotting, like because I heard a comment from Hands later on that they said they've tried to boycott in the past and it didn't work, and the profits, I guess, maybe they were saying like oh, the losses didn't matter to the developers, and that is probably not true, because if they had a big drop in their profits, they definitely would have probably come out and like fixed stuff. But like I said, I think they tried to. I don't think they've actually tried to boycott spending. Like I heard them say they did, and honestly, I don't believe it, because even if they did, I think a majority of them wouldn't. Because the thing is, I think how it works is, and I've seen this with like many games where people say they'll boycott. Even if you're passionate about something and you say, okay, everybody, we're boycotting, you know what people are going to do? They're going to buy packs anonymously, or they're going to leave your alliance when they buy packs, and they're going to join back. That's a lot of people. Just because you're at a good place to where you can boycott, not everybody is. Not everybody wants to stop. The game doesn't stop for anybody. If you stop and boycott while the whole game is still moving on, everybody else is still buying their packs, right? And I will say, like, the profits, like HNB could like kind of drain out of IGG is pretty massive, so them boycotting alone would still be a big dent. But the point is, these people are still growing, these guys are still progressing, all the other whale alliances are still moving, and they can't afford to stop buying packs, they can't afford to stop being big, and that is reasonable. But you can't say that that boycotting isn't the solution when it could be, but people aren't actually doing it. That's the issue. And the thing is, I think the devs would 99.99999% address it, since it's a big loss in their revenue, and it's very impactful, not only just financially, but because you have investors. And when you're a publicly traded company like this, and those revenue drops, like the revenue drops as hard as it might have, that really comes around when the people in the suits kind of come around and see those quarterly reports, and they're like, oh, what the heck, you know what I mean? Also, another thing I want to mention is there's a big like push in English chat about burning regions and stuff, and let me find. I think I have a screenshot on my phone, and I'll read it out. But this is kind of something that HNB have been posting everywhere. Guys, a group of us are migrating around to burn regions after Island as a protest for IGG not ending the immigration event. We would like to invite like-minded people to join us. And I don't know why they didn't do this, right? They didn't do this big push in chat when there was spending or something, right? Like when you wanted to stop spending, when you wanted to boycott on your spending. I didn't see this message in chat, and I just don't see why like spread this whole message around the game when you couldn't have done the same thing about being like, let's boycott spending, because boycotting spending would have been massively more impactful than actually like this, right? Because not only are you probably going to be helping the devs more by like pushing money in their pockets by burning regions, just in general, I just find this to be a less impactful method. And I'll kind of just talk more about it in a second, why I think like it'll actually help the devs more than hurt them. But yeah, let's keep going. Uh, like I said, a good boycott method would not be showing up to island. You know what I mean? Like that would drop their revenue because people actually aren't fighting. People aren't fighting like on your alliance, which I'm pretty sure if you show up to the next island, people are going to be spending money. Like it just is what it is, right? And if you say like nobody's spending, I just don't believe it. That's just kind of how I feel. I don't like how are you going to boycott right after island, but then you go into island and you probably spend up a ton. You know what I mean? Same with your enemies. They're going to be spending a ton of money to keep fighting you, and it just doesn't make sense to me. If you're still passionate about this, then don't show up to the next island. That's kind of my thoughts on that. um yeah, okay, I'll move on to the next. I also question how effective this will be, by the way, at making people quit. And if the goal is to go to like, and the thing is, why I say like to make people to quit is because Hands, I actually have a message and I have a screenshot already. But Hands basically said, yeah, that's my goal. And like what he was responding to was someone saying, oh, you want if you do this, what if the game dies or something like that? And he was basically, yeah, that's my goal. So, I mean, it's the game isn't a fixed migration event. The game's the goal. I mean, is to kill the game. That's what it sounds like, at least from what he said, right? So I also question how effective this will be at like making people quit. If the goal is to go from region to region and let's say spend a week in each one, and you have to establish an alliance, burn through towers and forts, just to potentially burn a few bases, except the ones that don't log in every 12 to 24 hours, because if you burn a base, for example, it'll shield up for 8 hours. And why I say 12 to 24 hours is because maybe if you burn them the first time, if you can burn them the second time after that 8 hour shield drops, maybe their hospital is already full, or maybe you'll fill their hospital and probably give them permanent deads. In that case, I can't imagine a lot of people actually losing massive amounts of troops to the point where they feel inclined to quit. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe they would complain. So this in itself, isn't the worst method at getting people to complain, maybe to the devs. But in all honesty, how many people have already complained about this event, right? I don't think a few people going around burning regions now is going to change much, especially considering that so many regions have already been invaded, so many regions have been taken over, so many regions have been like fought over, right? But I'm going to continue what I was saying. You do all that, you burn those players, you barely fill their hospitals, you know what I mean? And then what? You move to the next region because all these people maybe port to zone 2 and just wait it out, like let you sit there and like burn through their towers. And then when you leave, they build all their stuff back and they just kind of enjoy themselves again, right? But you move to the next region, rinse and repeat. And if the goal is to make everybody quit, let's say it's effective enough to make one person from each region quit, I'm guessing that person wasn't a spender in the first place, right? So way to stick it to the devs if that's the case, because the thing you got to understand, I don't imagine these guys are actually going to be targeting spenders, right? Because if you target spenders, if you target a whale, for example, that dude's going to spend up a ton of money to either like recoup his losses or just fight you in general. So you're probably going to be attacking really low might players or people who just don't spend money. Is that a way to like give it to the devs and take money out of their pockets? I don't understand that exactly. I don't understand how effective that would be at hurting the devs, especially considering even if you can make like one or two low or non-spenders quit, you're still putting money in the devs' pockets, because when you come in these regions, you burn players, they're probably going to be spending a lot of money to recoup losses, spending a lot of money to maybe, because let's say you have 100 people migrate out, that's $100 in the devs' pocket maybe, right? Because they're spending $1 each on that migration ticket. Also, I'm sorry if you hear my dog in the background. That's a lot of money that they're spending maybe on those migration tickets, like kind of combined. So it just in general, I don't see this being a very effective method at making people quit or spending less, because people are more likely to spend when they're fighting. People are more likely to spend when they're doing that, and I don't remember what it's called, but when you kind of get into these adrenaline rush situations, and I think this is one reason that you do like microtransactions on these games. And this is why like during fights they like doing those little pop-up packs or whatever on their screen, that gives you like little heal packs and stuff. People get hit with that adrenaline rush, even if it's not the best pack, or you shouldn't be buying it. A lot of people do buy it because they're like, oh well, I need these healing speed ups, oh I need to keep fighting, and all this type of stuff. And you fill your hospital, boom, that pop-up pack. And it encourages people, and this is probably going to push a lot of people to be like, okay, well, let me get this pack while I'm at it. And boom, you're helping the game, so good job, I guess. And if this method, like This method honestly isn't the worst at getting people to complain, like I said, but seriously, like how many people have already complained about the event? How many people came on Discord complaining when the event came out about how bad the event was going to be, how bad the event is? How many people were just complaining in general? You know what I mean? What do you think? Like, how do you think making more people to complain is going to change much? And there's a reason that this event is still out, probably because it's so profitable to the developers. And I'm assuming that this is because so many regions are fighting over like defending or something, or fighting invaders or whatever the case, or fighting over new regions. That these people who are invading the regions are spending so much money willing to fight over these regions. You know what I mean? Um, and that's probably like why the developers still have this kind of event up. So like, are you seriously expecting them to be stressed when this is like I said, more profitable to them? That's the only guess I can make why this event is still up. You know what I mean? If the pursuit is like shutting the devs down, you're simply lining their pockets at the end of the day. And a few more people complain about the issue. It doesn't really matter if people have complained about the issue for months now, and like in masses. So many people have sent tickets, so many people have already complained about it. And like I said, the biggest thing that you could do is actually boycott spending. But like I said, I don't think they're boycotting spending. That's the problem. And something that I find weird is I've never heard anybody from HNB complain about this migration event before this. And I mean, I might be wrong, but I haven't, right? Like, I haven't heard people complain about this, especially on a big scale. So I have to seriously assume that this is because maybe they lost a lot of players. And if that's the case, this is like a really flimsy argument about, oh, we're just trying to maintain, we're trying to just get rid of this migration event for the sake of the game. Like, if that's the case, then like I feel like this is a flimsy argument, and I feel like people are like, this is just an excuse to go burn regions down, right? It just seems like a glorified excuse to go get free kills. And I mean, if that is the case, I don't think it's like, I don't think it's wrong, right? Like I get it sucks, like these regions, it sucks for the regions, but just say that, you know what I mean? If you really want to go like burning regions down, just say that. You don't have to like say that you're doing it for the game or doing it for the players to make their gaming experience any better, because at the end of the day, you're only hurting the players by zeroing them all at the end of the day, right? Like, you're gonna just kill off the game. And like I said, Hans said that was his goal, so I'm assuming that that's actually the goal of this, which is to kill off the game. And if that's the case, I feel like it's just like, be open about it. Don't be saying, oh, we're just trying to stop this migration event. And it just seems like grandstanding to me. But like I said, not only do I think this will just be very ineffective, I think they'll have to go to like extremely new regions before anybody has forts down, and maybe they'll do this and burn people there. And in that case, they'll probably have to wait like 3 days on newbie shields, I think it is, right? And if they want to make newbies quit as well, so they might have to burn these really new accounts 3 days afterwards. And I think this might be a good method to catch people who just migrated in and burn them before like forts actually go down. But otherwise, I really don't see what they can do by going to developed regions. Like, unless you're helping an alliance take over the region, or helping established invaders, you know what I mean? And then if not, then you'll have to make your own forts. You'll have to donate to your own tech. You'll have to get all your gold coins up together. Then you place your towers, which in some cases, I guess eventually you have to end up getting resources for those towers, meaning that you'll have to either get on resource nodes, or you'll have like towers over resource nodes. But you get the point, right? Like, these guys are gonna have to do a lot. They're gonna have to burn through towers. They're gonna have to burn through forts. And if people are smart enough, they'll just keep backtracking forts to make you waste your time. So you might waste a whole week. And I'm sorry if my dog keeps barking. You might have to waste a whole week in one of these regions. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like this is only going to drive up IGG's revenue. I don't see how this is really going to hurt IGG at all. And in my opinion, like I said, I think this is just a glorified reason to kill regions and get kills and enjoy yourself. Like I said, although it sucks if that happens to the regions, I have no issue with it exactly. I mean, I would rather it not happen, but if you're trying to end the immigration event, this just isn't a viable method. So I just think that this is like a really bad method. So I can conclude this is only for kills and enjoyment. And honestly, if that's the case, just why try to justify it? You know what I mean? I'm so sorry about my freaking dog. He just doesn't stop. And the whole like, we are whales so we can zero everybody without a cost is semi-believable. Like, I could somewhat believe that is the case. Like, oh, whales can go invade regions and they don't have to spend a dime. But I don't believe that's the case either, because I don't think that they can, sustain that forever. I don't think you can lose, let's say, 10 million troops invading 100 regions, right? And you don't end up buying more, because, I mean, in some cases, some of these whales might not. But I feel like these guys are just going to end up spending while fighting in these regions or while recovering their troops after the fact and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that this is a big shot to the devs. I think it's just a big upside, right? Especially when you're considering that these are permanently dead troops. This could not be anything better for the devs. This is probably like a fever dream for them, where they're just shaking in their sleep with a boner. You know what I mean? Like they're just happy. And at the end of the day, it's like, who are you going to fight? Are you going to go kill off the whales, right? Because that's the only way to like take a big chunk out of the dev spending. Or are you going to go kill off all the plebeians of the game who spend very minimal, you know what I mean? And then how's that a big shot to the devs? I mean, you're probably, like I said, pushing more spending in that case. And yeah, I don't really know. I think that's like most of my 2 cents. In my opinion, I think this is like a fear tactic. I think the words will hold more weight than the actions. I definitely believe that they're going to commit this, and I think they're going to go through with this. But I definitely think that the words they're saying are going to hold more weight than the actual actions. I think the devs are going to take them more seriously, but I don't think like them actually doing it is going to be the biggest issue. And maybe this tactic does work to shut down the immigration event, but I still hold to my stance. Like if the immigration event shuts down in 2 months or something, I still hold on what I said here. I just think this is very stupid. I think I feel like it's an excuse to me. Like that's just how I feel, man. And I think this is just to get people riled up and try to get them to complain, maybe. I'm not really sure. Like, I definitely think that they'd go through with it and burn down regions, but like I said, I don't think that this is like a viable method to put the immigration event to an end, especially if you have all these other methods and you're just not taking them, you know what I mean? I also don't like something that I saw, and it was something Hans said later on, and he was basically commenting and saying, all these mega whales are going to be gathering together to do this, Boon, ROK, DHX, HNB. And I just want to say, I'm not sure about DHX or ROK, but Boon is heavily against this. I really hate people bringing in like someone's name or something into this, right? Like it's like saying, oh yeah, Panda's gonna help us zero these regions. You know what I mean? Like, when did I say that? When did I agree to that? And I don't like people dragging like an alliance's name through the mud over something they wouldn't have even agreed to. And I talked to Boon, I talked to Nam, I talked to all the leadership, and everybody was heavily against this. Nobody wanted to do this, and they shut it down, right? Like they shut this whole thing down. They were like, no, we're not doing this, by the way. So, don't like they were just telling the alliance like, don't say anything about this. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are you bringing one group's name to this when you're trying to implicate Boon as like some invaders who are going to burn down regions? Like that's not going to be the case. And also, I will say, maybe Boon feels less impacted by this because it's not hurt them as much as like other alliances, and it kind of ties to what I said earlier. So maybe that's one reason they're not as willing to burn down regions. I'm not sure, but I just find this argument kind of falls flat for me for like all these reasons that I mentioned above. But yeah, I just don't see this being very effective. This event like isn't bad for the devs to begin with. Otherwise, they wouldn't have kept it in for as long as they have. And yeah, I just don't see this being very effective. So, I mean, yeah, those are my 2 cents though. You guys give me your thoughts in the comment section. I do appreciate you guys as always for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Those are all my points for this. So, you guys have a great day or night though, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.